All right, folks, we have a treat today on the Spun Today Podcast. Chef Steven Rodriguez, a.k.a. Chef Papi, a.k.a. the creator, designer of the delicious, famous Dominican pizza, which I want to get into, by the way, the origins of a little bit later. But first off, just want to say thank you. Appreciate you doing this.
I'm happy to be here, man. I can talk, so
Nice.
I'm in my waters.
Awesome. So, like I was telling you before, I wanted to have you on primarily because, like, I follow you on Instagram. I've had your food a bunch of times. Like, oh, delicious. Home run every time.
Thank you.
And something that I could tell from, at least from the outside looking in, I can see, like, the passion that you put into, like, what you do. And, like, there's, like, creativity to it also. Like, I like mac and cheese, and I know there's a specific video, the, like, longaniza mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Every time I see that video, bro, I'm like, ay, coño. Like, my mouth waters. Like, it's awesome. And, like, I appreciate that type of passion. Like, whenever somebody puts passion into anything that it is that they're into, like, it, like, draws me to that. And that's why I wanted to have you on, hear a little bit about your story, how you got started, what got you into cooking, like your influences, like the whole nine.
Wow. So, I kind of, so I'm Dominican, and I come from a very Dominican family that was very reserved. Like, they would go to church every Sunday. They were like, we were like on lockdown growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, these, like, my parents are the type of people, like, they would watch the 6 o'clock news, the 11 o'clock news, and, ay, mira lo que pasó.
No se puede salir.
Exacto.
Yeah.
So
My
it
parents
was
were the
like,
same way.
you know, the world was like, it was like dangerous, you know?
Yeah.
So,
You were born here or in DR?
I was actually born here. I was born in
Cool.
Queens. But I'm, like, very Dominican. Like, you know, I would go to DR, like, every year as a kid, like, summer vacation. Like, my mom is from Jarabacoa, so we would spend most of our time there. And
Where's your pops from, if you don't mind me asking?
he's from un campo de San Jose de la Mata. Like,
Okay.
he's just, like, really, they're just really, you know, that real, they're, like, not city people at all, you know what I'm saying?
That's
So,
how my mom's from Bonao, a campo from Bonao. My father's from Campo de Moca. So, yeah, I'm with you on that.
so our people, you know, they come from a very special place, which is very beautiful. The best memories of my childhood is literally just spending time in Jarabacoa, and, you know, we would visit my grandmother, like, elsewhere. You know, we had family, like, basically everywhere, and I grew up in like, I remember, like, we were gonna have chicken for lunch, and I remember, like, watching my grandfather, like, grab a chicken by the neck and, like, yo, this is the one we're eating, you know? So, like, I grew up on that real criollo Dominican stuff flavor, you know? And all my uncles, they all had, like, bodegas and stuff here, like, so I grew up in that ambiance, you know? My dad had a restaurant when I was, like, in high school. And that was, like, really when it all started for me. Like, on my drive here, actually, I drove right in front of that place, which is so weird because the GPS never takes me here through there. And I drove right in front of that place, La Flor de Paraíso. It's on Myrtle and Cornelia.
Nice.
That used to belong to my dad, like, over 15 years ago. And that's where I, like, learned. That's where I made my first mofongo, you know what I'm saying? That's where I learned how to, like, make my first, like, anything. And I was just always, my parents have always been very very, you know, very hospitable people. Like, they love entertaining. They, we've always had, like, huge barbecues at my house growing up and stuff. So, like, just making people feel comfortable has always been, like, me. Regardless what I've done before, actually, like, just not giving a shit about what people think about me and actually just becoming a chef and, you know, living life on my own dime. Like, it wasn't until, like, I let go of that and just really started doing this that I learned that I was like, you know, I'm just being myself. I'm just, you know, me being a chef, I'm just being me. I'm just literally doing what I enjoy doing, you know. I love people. I love watching people eat and drink and feel good and enjoy what, and, you know, and enjoy what they're consuming and talk about it. Wow, this shit's amazing. that shit makes me feel good. So
It must be like empowering, kind of also, right? Like
it's just more like reassuring. Like a lot of people, they either do stuff or they don't do stuff according to like how confident they are.
True.
And the only way for you to actually build like self-confidence is to actually be confident.
True.
And letting go of whatever fear it is that you have to just execute something, no matter how many times you fuck it up. Like the best things that I do, I've learned by
failing a lot.
Exactly. So
Sure.
I mean, it's the only way to actually become confident in something is to actually just go through the process. People are afraid of the process.
Absolutely.
This is everywhere you go, you hear people saying things like, come to this seminar and you'll just be flipping houses in
overnight.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you'll become a millionaire. Like people are like, oh yeah, and they do that and they go and they spend their money and there are people out there who are doing amazing things and but there are a lot of scammers out there.
Absolutely.
And
there's probably more scammers than
of course, and the system is all like flooded with people who are just looking for a quick dollar and they don't think about longevity and they don't think about being happy, doing what they do. So I'm just having fun, man.
For me, that's a rule of thumb, which is if something it comes along too easily, like it's usually not the right way to go.
Exactly.
Like the path, and it's not necessarily that you have to seek out, the path that's hardest or anything like that. But I feel, for me personally, that I want to earn whatever I get. That I want to go through a process. If I want to learn podcasting, I started over 5 years ago. Figured out all nooks and crannies and been doing it consistently ever since. With writing, same thing. I put out a couple books and I learned the craft. I read and I listen to other writers and I want to dig into it, and I don't want to be like that overnight success that is not gonna know how to handle that success, because you figure that out, I believe, through going through the stages and going through the process and the experience that you get from doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and sometimes in the process you might find an opportunity to take a shortcut and you actually go for it. And whatever outcome comes out of that, it's still a lesson. Whether it worked out for you or it didn't, and that came back and it stabbed me in the back or whatever.
Like a lesson
that's
of what not
part
to
of the
do or what to do.
process.
Exactly.
That's just you actually, moving forward. I don't believe in quitting. I have 3 kids, and the one thing that I'm huge on is no. When they're going through one of their little tantrums that they can't figure something out, and I'm like,
you gotta stick to it. You gotta
relax.
Yeah.
Look at it. No, I'm not just gonna do it. Look, you figure it out. There's a lot that I didn't get, because of the generational differences,
True.
Between my parents, where they grew up and how they grew up and the way they raised me and now the era was 2020, the era we live in, and then me having
Everything
kids
is handed.
for myself and how different things are. When I was in high school, it was yo, call me after 9 o'clock, bro, because
the minutes are free nights and weekends.
Exactly,
Hell
bro,
yeah.
get out of here. I ain't paying for no text message, so it's it was either that or MySpace.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's very different now, my kids, bro, they'll take my phone and then they'll FaceTime me. My 2-year-old knows how to FaceTime me,
Yeah.
bro.
That's so scary, right?
Yeah,
my son is 1.5, a little more than 1.5. He's 19 months now, and he'll take the phone, he knows how to press the YouTube app. When there's a commercial, he knows how to press skip, and I'm like, yo. And they make these devices so addictive.
They're gangster, bro.
It's
you know what's interesting about that? Do you know how this, I read into the smallest things, a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old does not have 15 seconds of patience to watch a commercial before whatever they want to watch actually starts.
Wow.
That says a lot, right?
That's
about
nuts.
the way we live our lives. You know what I'm saying?
Everything's go. I want it now. You want instant gratification with everything.
That's what I'm saying. People are afraid of the process, man.
Yeah.
There's no patience. There's no critical thinking anymore. There's no questioning facts. People just turn on the TV or they go on Facebook or whatever and they read the first thing that they see and they don't even finish reading it. By the time they're going around like
And telling
trying to
somebody
tell
else.
that story to someone else, and they're fucking up that story, you know, and it's probably like a bullshit story
Exactly.
to start with, and it's just like Jesus Christ, people actually spend their time doing a lot of dumb shit, you know, like
Something that's telling that what you said, which I think speaks to our generation, like in terms of like responsibility, because we're like that bridge between our parents, which were probably like OD the other way and strict, they no salga de la casa.
de que no mami,
And the-
no se preocupe, eso está
Ajá.
bien, ya yo lo chequeé en Google.
But we're the bridge between them and then the new generation that it's like the exact opposite, that they want everything easy, everything now, and we're like the in between that we have to like try to like give them a little bit of our parents and but also let them be a little bit of them, you know what I mean, and kind of like find like a happy medium.
I just think
in
it's
between.
like a bunch of like just failed parenting that wasn't really necessarily their fault. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes
They didn't know any better.
Sometimes you want to like blame like your upbringing or whatever, but at the same time, it's just like, you know, they're doing what they knew best. You know what I'm saying? They're living by their instincts, you know? Like they're
Absolutely.
trying to protect you or give you or set you up for whatever. I mean, there are a lot of shitty parents, but there are a lot of good parents
Yeah.
that failed at parenting because they just didn't know better. You know
True.
what I'm saying? And it's just like,
Gotta
it's-
cut them a break too.
yeah, you know, you gotta like just really just analyze things. Like, okay, why am I like this? You know, like what you know, and just like go to the root of it. And if you know if there's someone you need to have that conversation with, like, you know,
And work it
have
out
that
with them.
conversation and get on with your life. You know what
True.
I'm saying? Like, because you know, time is running out. Look at Kobe Bryant, 41 years old. Just when he's like beginning to like enjoy his life, he worked his ass off his entire life.
Yeah.
And then he just retired. Like those, well, he just retired. Come
Yeah.
on, it hasn't been more than like how
My-
many years he retired.
My handful of years, I think 2016, 17
yeah,
maybe?
he just retired.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, shit, man. That's that, dude. When I saw that video of his helicopter going
Spinning
down,
around.
dude, when I actually saw it go up in flames, dude, like, I felt like someone kicked me in the chest, you dude. Like this, that was honestly, and I've never like even been to a basketball game to actually see him play. Like, you know, I admired him for, you know, he was such a great
His
person.
like work ethic, dedication,
Yeah,
stuff like
he
that.
was amazing, you know. But like when he was 17 years old, I saw this video. He was 17 years old, like talking to some high school kids, and he was just like, he's always been that amazing of a, you know, of a person. And I saw that video, dude, and that shit, my stomach
vaina
hurt.
dolió.
My stomach hurt, bro.
The episode I did last week actually was dedicated strictly to Kobe because he was like my favorite player. I saw him play once when he was on his like final season, and I saw him play at the Barclays, and like I followed his career afterwards. He started like a company called, if anybody wants to listen to episode 145, like I really got into like the details of it.
Okay.
But he started a production company called Granity Studios. The goal was to teach children work ethic and discipline through sports, and he wanted to do that like mainly like for his daughters, and he was the coach of his daughter's basketball team, which is where they were on their way to his daughter's game that day on the helicopter. And he put out like 3 books, best-selling books that were aimed for children. He started a podcast called The Punies, like also like trying to like teach that. And it was so sad. Steven actually was the one that called me. He was like, yo, did you hear the news about Kobe? Like when it happened? And
Bro,
bro, I was fucking heartbroken.
that was the worst.
So sad. But yeah, it speaks to definitely do, like you said, do what you need to do while you're here.
Yeah.
And have the conversations you need to have, and you don't want to look back on life and just have it like full of regret, right?
Not at all, man. I mean, it's just not worth it. You
No.
just don't know when your time is, man.
True.
Like, you just don't know.
So tell me more about, you said your dad's restaurant, that's when you first made the mofongo? Was
Yeah.
that your first time cooking? Because that's a question
That
I
was
had.
that was really when I actually like I actually fell in love with like food.
Tell me, was it just the experience of like, how old were you when you used to go?
I mean, I was a freshman in high school, so
Did you
I
like
don't know.
work there after school?
yeah. I would every day. Well, not every day, but on the weekends and like every Tuesday I was like there like 3 or 4 days of the week, like consistently, and I was literally like I was never the type of person like, oh, this is my dad's restaurant, so I'm like de cara hediondo, y vaina.
Yeah.
Like, nah, bro. Like,
walking around
like
little
dude, if I had to clean the bathroom, I would clean the bathroom.
Yeah.
I started like literally peeling plátanos with two Mexican guys. I remember their names, Raúl and the other guy was Roberto. Well, we would call him Beto.
Nice.
I still remember their names. I don't know where they are in the world.
Shout
I
out
still
to them,
remember those guys. You know, I learned how to like peel plátanos and yuca and season meat and clean shrimp and just prep basically
prep work
everything.
in the kitchen.
And so then, like, eventually, so the way it worked was the kitchen was tiny. It was upstairs. And the prep area was downstairs in the basement. So whenever these guys needed anything, they would just yell, like, necesitamos plátano, or necesitamos whatever, camarones. Like, we had to, like, one of us would, like, go take it. And I started being the guy, like, whenever they would ask for, like, no, I got it. And I would always take the stuff upstairs to the kitchen because I just I love the scene in there. Like, whenever I would bring them something that they were missing, and it was, like, during rush hour, and they're, like, yelling at each other and cursing at each other, and flames going up in the air, and they're just plating stuff and ringing the bell and, like, get the shit out of here.
Like organized chaos, right?
Yeah, it was like, it was, I don't know what it was about that. I just loved it.
Nice.
So then every time I would make one of those runs, I would like help out the dishwasher a little bit, you know.
Like do what you can to try to stick around.
The dishwasher was the place was so small that the dishwasher had like his own like little stove, and the place used to sell so much rice and beans, bro, that they literally had like a huge pot of white rice and a huge pot of like yellow rice and a huge pot of moro and a huge pot of just beans going the whole day.
Damn.
So like they would like bring one down and, you know, bring it out to the front, and they would have to put another one to get through the day. Like that's how it was. It was insane. So busy. It was one of the busiest restaurants ever. And so I was there, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I learned how to like, you know, make all that stuff, you know, and he also was like, he had the little, I don't know what you call that, we call it salamancra, but it's like this little grill, you know, where the Chinese people put the barbecue ribs and just just a flame on top.
Yeah.
So he had to also
like
control
a broiler.
The space was so small. Like he was just literally like they would just give him the hot plates with the fish or the steak or whatever that was going in there, and he would pop it in there and just watch it and give it to them at the temperature they needed it. Like so he was washing dishes, making all the rice and beans, and doing that. So like
multitasking,
you know,
like a
yeah.
motherfucker.
So I was like, you know, helping him out, and then eventually I moved like a little to the left, and there was the grill, and I like learned how to just grill all types of steaks and stuff. And then I moved a little like to the left, and I was like working on the line, like actually like sauteing shit, and you know, I just loved it, man.
That's awesome.
And I was like young, I was really young, and so you know, it was always something I really enjoyed.
That's awesome. And tell me so you mentioned the mofongo before. Is that like one of your like go-to things or favorite things to make, or is just like you remember like that being specifically like something that you just did like from scratch?
No, I'm just like remember specifically that I was like literally like if you want to go to the root, like that was where like I learned how to like peel a plátano. That's how I learned how to make tostones, how to like what is a mofongo, like how, you know, how what ingredients does it go with, like how do you smash it, why, you know, like just the why of like all these things. Like wow, this is cool. I didn't know that you had to go through this much trouble to prepare a meal, you know.
Sure. Yeah. That there was like so much detail underlying it.
Yeah, and there was like so many people behind it. Like, you know, you sit down at a restaurant and you order something and you have no idea like someone had to go pick this up somewhere, deliver it to you. You know, someone had to receive it. Someone had to store it properly. Someone had to clean it. They had to season it. They had to give it a little love. They had to put it away. You know, like when you order, you know, they have to do it right. The sauce has to be right. Like
all the prep that goes
everything.
into it.
There's so much to like, you know, a chicken wing coming to your to your table as an appetizer that you know, it's amazing.
And stuff like that is like lost sometimes now because we're like we were speaking about before, just the culture of getting everything like immediately. you know what I mean, and we don't like think about all those steps like beforehand that it takes for something for a dish to be like in front of you like that.
Yeah, no, it's a lot to it, you know. And I mean, it doesn't really end there.
Where'd you go from there? Like what were your next steps from there? Like in terms of like your trajectory to like being a chef.
So then after high school, I was actually, like I said, I grew up in a family where it was like very reserved and stuff. So I tried to do everything that I possibly could just to get out of the house and do shit, you know. So I was actually like really into music. And I was like a bachatero, bro, like at a very young age. Like at that age, like also like working like at the restaurant and whatever. Like I was out like playing parties, like little gigs and stuff.
Nice,
like
that's awesome.
Like all these little Dominican clubs. Like I was a Queens boy, so we were all over the place. You know how?
Do you remember Sidetracks or Amasura?
Yeah, of course.
Like places like that.
Loco, nosotros vimos con todos esos sitios. Jubilé.
Yeah.
Forget about it, loco.
A couple of my boys back in the day, they were into my boy Peter. He used to play guira in a band. My boy Noel used to play segunda. I was like, I never got into it, like in terms of like playing an instrument, but I would like go like to support them to like all their gigs and stuff like that.
Yeah, those are the best parties, man. You know,
because that was like the era of like
Blessed
Aventura.
Sacrament.
Yeah, the Blessed Sacrament parties. My aunt, that's by Etna and like Chestnut around there.
Yeah.
My aunt used to live like up the block from there.
So I was really into that. I was really into that scene, and like I did that for a very long time. Then like because my parents were very religious, like I would go to church every Sunday. I started playing in the Centro in the Bronx. I don't know if you ever heard of the Centro Carismático in the Bronx. They used to do the young people retreats and stuff. So I did the music ministry there for like a year or two. So I was always like into music and stuff. And
was that tough, by the way, like being into like you mentioning how your parents were like strict and stuff like that, being into music or being into cooking, is that something that they were like, hey,
no, not cooking.
That's not
cooking, because they just saw that as like that's hard work, you know.
Okay.
So like, but the music thing, yeah, like growing up, and the music thing was like always like,
tu muchacho está soñando,
ahí no hay futuro y vaina, and it was
yeah,
just like so like, you know, that thinking, you know, that is just like I'm totally against, because that's bullshit.
True.
Because I know for a fact that if I just like only did music, I would seriously be doing something real.
True.
Like even if I'm like, let's say just doing sound for someone or actually playing in like Romeo's band or something, I would still be enjoying my life like the same way that I'm
absolutely
enjoying now.
And you'd be like in that world.
I would be doing what I love, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, that goes first. And if that goes for everyone, and no matter what situation they're like that goes first.
Like whatever it is that they're into.
If you're not happy, you can't make anyone else happy. That's it. That's the bottom line.
True.
I don't care who you are or what you like. That's if you have nothing to give, you can't give anyone shit.
True.
You know?
And it's important to know too, like there's not only like the front man of the band or like even the rest of the band. There's sound, there's engineers, mixers, a lot of people behind the scenes. The boom holding, people holding the mics and the marketing, and there's a machine behind every single band, anything that anybody's into, music wise, or in any industry, movies are the same way. There's like hundreds of people, hundreds of different jobs that people could be into. It's just not what you see.
And those are the things that people they just don't really care for.
Yeah.
Like.
And sometimes they don't know.
Like, who sits to watch all the credits after a movie is over?
And there's a shitload.
And even if you actually try to read it, most of them go so fast that you can't really like catch everyone.
Yeah.
Before your brain is able to process, like, you know what I'm saying? You're not sitting there like jotting these names down and like looking these people up to see who they are.
And like what does second grip mean? Like what is that?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But that's like a career.
And I'm sure that without that person, that movie would not. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, so that's very interesting to me. Like I go deep with a lot of shit because.
And you find stuff like that out by, like we were saying before, like going through the process. Like you won't know what that job is unless you like try to be the front man of the band and find out that maybe that's not your thing, but then you find out that maybe
you're not that good, and that's the thing. It's either like I feel like our generation grew up with either two things. They either thought they were like fucking F9 on some shit, and like they just no, you're not, and and that hurt them, hurt their ego so bad
That they just stop right there.
Yeah, that they just fucking no upward spiral. Just that's it. They just continue to live their life like a very mediocre life, and or it's either that or the people who just like had those parents who were just like embrace your kids' creativeness or their craziness. Like cuánta gente no se han pegado loco en Instagram haciendo video like just being clowns, bro, like, and it's changed their life. The fucking Dominican pizza changed my life. It literally changed my life. Like I wasn't doing what I was doing a year ago, and that was all because of a fucking plátano. But I've been peeling plátanos for the past 15 years.
It started when you were like in high school.
Exactly.
With the two Mexican dudes.
This is what people think. Like they just like, oh, like this, he's lucky. Like, bro, I only have 32,000 followers on Instagram. That's nothing. That's nothing.
That's a lot.
No,
to me, that's, you know what I mean? But I know what you mean.
Nothing in the scale of like who do I look up to? Who like
relatively speaking,
who's really doing this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, like I still gotta pay my bills, and I still think about it every time I spend money, and I do shit because it's like, yo, dude, I'm raising a family. I have to make the right decisions, the correct investments.
Absolutely,
like, with my
it's
time,
not like just about you. Like, people
it's like,
you're responsible for.
Of course, and so on the big scale, of things, it's like, I ain't shit, and I have the humility to understand that, but because I know what I want and I know where I'm going, and I'm also very confident in that, and I'm a person that believes that if you believe that you are meant to be, in a certain place or you can, or a certain type of person, or that you can accomplish something, that you can actually do it.
Absolutely.
If you go through the process.
And if you're willing to put in the work. And
of course. But that's part of the process.
Yeah.
Because you're in the process and then like, oh shit, I got to do this myself. Yeah. You got to do it yourself. So if you do it, then you get to the other side, and then you continue the process, and you keep encountering these issues and these problems, and which is all just part of the growth and understanding. And it's like the people who are at the top, they're at the top because they've been through the process. No shortcuts, man. Like,
and if you're not willing to put in that work, then it's not for you.
Yes, and a lot of people
that weeds a lot of people out.
A lot of people have grown up rich and had all these opportunities and have been given things, and they have destroyed them because they haven't gone through the process. It's not about what you have.
True.
It's about what you're willing to do. And the only thing that determines what you're actually gonna get out of bed for is like how you feel inside. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's everything. Are you motivated or not?
Absolutely. There's speaking to that, there's a quote that I really like about somebody in that situation that's like born rich or that has everything handed to them, which is people like that are born on third base and they think that they hit a triple. You know what I mean? So they have that like everything that comes with hitting a triple, that's but powerful. They didn't earn it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I definitely want to get to the Dominican pizza, but take me from.
So from high school, I was really into music. I did that for a while, and my dad had that restaurant for, I want to say maybe like 8 years or so, and maybe I was like in my early 20s. He sold it, and he bought this like little supermarket in Brooklyn, and I was helping him run the store for a little while, and eventually, like, he's like, he wants to retire and stuff. My dad is not like a young dad. Like, he had me, like, my brother's 8 years older than me. My sister's like 11 years older than me. Like, I'm the youngest of three.
Okay.
So my dad, I think he's like probably like 70 already. So
my dad's 79 now. He had me like really late also.
Yeah. So, he's like, oh, we're retiring and stuff, and like, so I basically was like running that store for a while, and I got this idea of like, really, really like, I saw the need for people who like wanted food, like we had schools in the area, and like lunchtime was, we had like a little steam table, like a little steam table, like 6 feet, and like, and we would sell out of like rice and beans, and we were busy with the sandwiches, and it was small. We only had like one machine and blah blah, and it was like I saw a lot of potential in the business to like really make this like a
cater to
go-to food
that
spot.
community.
You know what I'm saying? So I did, and I was really into this show called Bar Rescue. I don't know if you ever saw it with John Taffer.
No, I haven't.
It was
Is that the one that like he goes into like a shitty bar and like fixes it up?
Yeah,
or,
like they would renovate it in a couple days and train the staff and blah blah. And they would really go to the root of the problems of like the families that were running it or whatever, and like why they were failing and all this stuff. And it was like mostly staged. But
have you ever seen The Prophet?
no, but
Like it's like that type of show. I
Yeah,
guess,
it's the same thing basically.
Okay.
But this guy was like very straightforward. Like, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You're walking by this problem every day and you're ignoring it. This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to hear it.
He hit the problem like head on.
So I was seeing all these like loopholes in management and like just the way that our parents spoke to people, or how they felt it was like okay to address people, and like just like I just saw a lot of things that were just like this is wrong. This shouldn't be like this. Like, so I got a little leeway and a little like freedom to like run the business, and I made all the investments to like make this happen. So like we expanded the deli and with the steam table were like maybe like 3 times the size, and so I started tapping into catering. Like I built an app, I built a website. Like all of this costs a lot of money, obviously.
Awesome.
I built an app, I built a website. Like I got on Uber Eats, I got on Grubhub, and I was just catering to the people that I saw that were actually started coming in the store. And
you
like,
saw a need and you wanted to give the
so
solution.
People would ask like if we had like a juice, like fresh juices and like salads and stuff, and I'm like, no, but we will. Like I listened to the customer and I made it happen, and we started selling a bunch of salads and juice bars, and like I literally tripled the sales of the business.
Wow.
And like I figured oh wow, this is cool.
It worked.
Like,
I had an idea. I put it in play, and
I tried a lot of things before it actually got to that point. But I went through a whole process of like trying things that weren't working out, and I was like, oh, maybe this, maybe that, and then eventually I figured it out.
Do you remember any of those? Like something like which one of those things that you tried?
Yeah, like for example, I got these huge chalkboards. I personalized this menu with really cool names, like for sandwiches and
So
stuff.
people were like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, and it was like, wow, like I must try this, and I put those chalkboards on the board on the wall, and I just figured that just because those chalkboards were there, people were just gonna come in and just order these things, and they weren't.
True.
So that was one of the things where I was just like, why isn't this working?
Yeah.
Like,
you learn from it, and then all right, that didn't work. Let me try this.
Yeah, so it's like one of the simple things that a lot of people just like they would try something and and it wouldn't work, and they'll just call it a day. And like I was just never having that shit. Like, okay, this didn't work. Something has to work.
True.
Because if people go to Dunkin' Donuts every day and grab coffee, and no offense to anyone or Dunkin' Donuts, I just don't like their coffee. Like, I think it's trash.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I spend fucking $3 on something that I just don't like? True. I would rather spend $3.50 and go somewhere else, or spend 75 cents.
Get the cart coffee
and get that. Nah, bro, but son, those Ox stores be having the coffee sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Or even those little Dominican stores in the Bronx for 75 cents or $1, you get the best coffee you've ever had. It's just like,
without the gimmick.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So.
And, the app and like that thing, do you still have that going on?
I don't. I was basically, the way that it was all organic. Like I just saw the need for what people wanted, and I delivered it to them, and I proved to myself that I was capable of more. And I was really into branding, and I was like, you know what, like, I have to brand this because it's people, they're drawn to like brands. They're drawn to things that look, like they're put together nicely. So I was stuck. Like, well, what am I gonna name this business? And my wife at the time was like, well, my wife now, but at the time, my wife was like, well, what do they call you at work? Like she was trying to help me figure out, like, what are we gonna brand this thing? And I was like, they call me Papi. Like, and the reason why it was because we're like in East New York. It was like most of our customers were black and Dominican.
The black dudes like, hey, Papi, Papi, Papi.
So that's what they called us. All black people call us the mommy and Papi. Good morning, mommy. Like, what's up, Papi? Yo, don't put too much mayo on my salad.
Is that the origins of Chef Papi?
Yes, well, exactly. So I was like, oh, that's the name. So she's like, that's it right there. So called it Papi's Grill. So that's what it was. And it was like a buzz. It really it was doing really well. And then from there I went to Caoba, and I never changed my Instagram name. It was like NYC Papi's because that was the name, Papi's Grill.
Oh, okay.
And I left it like that for a little while, and when I was doing the tasting for Caoba, I had this dish that I had been working on for a while, which is a Dominican pizza. And actually, the first run was actually like a huge pie. Like, it was like a large pie.
Like a large pie. Yeah.
Yeah, like you could grab 8 huge ass slices out of it. And I just thought it was very like unattractive, and like it wasn't practical. It wasn't crunchy. Yeah, it was it was more like a mango flavor, and I didn't like it, and I just kept modifying it. And when I did their tasting, I was literally up the night before, the entire night, just like perfecting everything that they were gonna have, because it was pretty much like the way I wound up there was I heard that they were selling the place, and it turned out to be a complete rumor. But I met Steven, the owner, and we hit it off, and I told him about all my plans for the business, like what I would do if it were mine, and he was like, yo, let's why don't you just take over the kitchen and we'll see where it takes us, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's build this relationship. And at the time I was like, okay, like I didn't see anything wrong with that. I was like, okay, let me take the summer off. We'll start like in the fall, September, whatever, and I did this tasting for them. I was up the whole night before, just, perfecting everything. And I came up with this dish that I had been modifying it like the whole summer. And it was like an instant hit. Like, everyone that tried it was like, yo, this is,
off the hook.
I think you got something.
I can absolutely vouch for it.
And actually, funny story, before I actually opened the menu at Caoba, I had one of like my mentors like come in, Chef Kelvin. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I have. I actually saw him on. He was on a podcast recently, Earn Your Leisure podcast with those guys. Yes. I saw that episode. It was dope.
He's a very modest guy, but he's A-Rod and J-Lo's personal chef. Yeah. He has a very long trajectory and a great reputation. And this guy, he was a mutual friend of one of my wife's family members, and I was like telling her like, yo, this guy, he's like, I love this guy. She's like, yo, I went to high school with that dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go take him over. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And they showed up there one day.
Wow.
And he tried, and I made the pizza for him, and he was like, yo, you really have something here.
That's awesome.
And that meant like so much to me.
I can imagine, bro. That's like so validating.
Right before, probably 2 weeks before I actually started like at Caoba, he gave me that little reassurance that I needed. And that meant a lot to me.
Because that's a big step too, in and of itself, right? Like, you going from what you're doing before to like taking over a kitchen.
It was 2 different worlds. Yeah. It was more like, my thing was like catering, and I would cook in like large quantities, and it was like a lot of like lunch food, and exactly. It was like a quick lunch spot. Like, we had really cool signature dishes and the cheesiest, amazing things and shit. But like, it was different because everything was just like an a la carte menu. So I really had to like just like compress all my ideas, and the flavors that I knew, and the things that I was like used to working with, and just bringing them to like a more presentable life. And we had a great year. We had a great year at Caoba.
Absolutely.
It was we had a lot of success there with
Absolutely.
with the menu and stuff.
Tell me, before you actually, when did you get the idea for the Dominican pizza? Because like you said, you started first like with the large pie, but before you even tried that large pie, like were you just like chilling one day like platanos pizza, let me mash them together.
Yeah, actually, I was just bored of the fact that like we were only making mofongos
Gotcha.
with plátanos, and I felt like that we could make more cooler shapes out of this thing and make it.
It's like a
food.
versatile
because
food,
I
right?
saw I saw the how attracted people were to the food porn on Instagram. Like people would go nuts over cheese and shit that was like put together in a funny looking way.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, we gotta do more with this, and I started doing those little mofonguito cups, which obviously wasn't something that new, but the names that we gave our dishes were very hilarious. Like one day I was basically testing recipes, and one of the employees comes into the kitchen. He's like, "¿Y esa vaina qué?" and I was like, "That's it. That's the name, la vainita."
Nice.
And I was like, that became one of the dishes that like really put me on board. Like,
And what was that, la
neighborhood,
vainita?
like,
What was it?
it was like these little mofonguito cups, like, we made them with steak or shrimp or chicken, but they were like really cheesy, and they had
Yeah.
like this like really good, like with the sauces that we put on them, like were made from scratch, and they were just delicious, and people were just like, wow, this is amazing, and it was like that thing,
Nice.
and then from there, just like the pizza, it came out of like all these trials and errors of like we gotta put plátanos on the map. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
when I go on Instagram, how come I don't really see like why Dominicans aren't really like on the map like that? Like with like why not? Like why isn't there a Latin Food Network yet? Like
True.
there's so much, and I know someone who's like working on that, and I don't want to say much, but
True.
like you have all my support. Like, but why isn't that? What? Like, come on, bro. Like,
Why are we not there yet?
we should be there yet. We should be there already. And because Latin food is amazing, bro.
Absolutely.
Like, dude, Cuban food and Peruvian food and Colombian food and Mexican food and
So many.
Dominican food.
Yeah.
Like, bro, we have good food.
So many
bro.
different flavors that are all like
yes,
amazing.
yes. Like, we should be more. We should really. We gotta eat. Like,
It should be like more of a staple.
So, yeah, let's
right?
represent ourselves. More. So
Hold that thought. One
Cool.
second. All right, so we're back with a nice little refill. Cheers.
cheers to you. Thank you, sir.
So the vainitas. So from that, and the dude in Kawa saying, "¿Qué es esa vaina?"
No, that was actually at Papi's Grill,
Oh, okay.
where they were born, and how we gave it that name, and they would like put us on the map, and I just started exploring more. It gave me like the sandwiches we made were just amazing. Like I made these amazing Philly cheesesteak sandwiches, like this freaking amazing cheese sauce that got me
Damn.
to the Food Network. So
Really?
yeah,
Oh,
it did.
shit.
So
Tell me what that was like. That's
well,
something.
I was like really paying attention to what was going on with food on Instagram, and I started working with one of my favorite foodie pages, Devour Power. They were coming to my spot and they were trying my food, and they were like, "This is amazing. It's very Instagram worthy. It's very attractive," and they really gave me like that social presence, because they shouted me out a few times, and people started just coming to and that's when I discovered like, wow, like Instagram, like influencer marketing really works, and I was really like blown away by that, and I was just really like becoming more comfortable with being myself,
True.
and
Which is key.
and I went from like 600 followers to like maybe like 15,000 followers like in a year,
Wow.
and then like like in another
And that was just
6
like on the
months.
back of.
That was just me doing like these crazy looking sandwiches and stuff like that. And then once I started at Caoba, when I was at Caoba, I was probably like at around 13,000, and like I'm at 32 now. Like that all happened like in a year and a half.
Yeah. Wow.
That growth. The Dominican pizza was like a sensation. Like people were just like, holy shit, that's so cool. And it took me to do shows in DR. It took me to do shows like, like different parts of the country. I just came from a trip from Paris, and someone DM'd me like, oh my god, I love your food, I live in Paris, like I'm a chef at a restaurant, you should come here and have my food. And I was like, yo, it was just amazing how Instagram has literally changed my life, and the Dominican pizza has literally changed my life. It's just giving me opportunities to meet a bunch of people like from all over the world. Yeah, and
it's like the reach is
allowed me to travel more and just do more. And yeah, these influencers, they did an event with the New York City Wine and Food Festival in New York, and I was invited to come and do my like famous Philly cheesesteak sandwiches with the cheese sauce. And so that night I was shouted out on the Food Network, and I did the New York City Wine and Food Festival, and which is I have a very interesting story about.
Tell me.
I'm gonna say it at the end to like close it out, just as an example, just so people could take it, with them, So whatever. So I went and so that cheese sauce really like put me on the map as well. So it's been like the vainitas and the cheese sauce and the Dominican pizza and the mac and cheese, and it's just always doing things that just like appeal to the eye, but it's also very delicious,
and infused also with that Dominican like culture.
Yes, exactly, and just always trying to just stay true to my roots and stuff. And so yeah, these dishes have really like changed my life because I wasn't able to host private dinners in people's homes like I do now, like almost regularly. Before then, like True. I was always like the type of person like, oh, have my in-laws in and make them a nice paella or something. And now I'm doing this shit like all the time. Like people call me, I do private dinners for them. I go to their house and they celebrate party, whatever, all types of parties. And, we do groups of 10, 15, 20 people, and we just like do like a nice 10-course dinner and just like,
that's awesome.
And we get to know each other and we drink and we have fun, and it's like I love my life. I love what I do.
And if folks actually want to reach out to you like for that, how do they do that?
I'm in the process of building a website now, just personalized for like Chef Papi and all the things all the services that I do. But no, right now everything is really just like Instagram and DMs, Chef Papi NYC.
It's at Chef Papi NYC?
Yeah, at Chef Papi _ NYC on Instagram. And it's just like really like right now I do apologize beforehand. I have over 100 DMs in my request folder. I
can imagine you just can't keep up with like all the requests. I have
hundreds of DMs. And every day I tackle 20, 30, 40, 50 DMs, and then the next day I have another 100 on top of that. Damn. So it's like
it's hard to keep up.
It's hard to manage, but yeah, right now I do have my email on my bio, so and I also work with an agency called Urban Latin Media. I have their contact information on my bio as well, and you can book me through them. They help me book events because it's too much to handle for me.
Gotcha. So they handle like all the logistics? Yeah,
so they keep a calendar for me, and then we do really cool events with them as well. They represent a lot of really cool people. I love them. Check them out. They have a lot of cool services. Everything from like, design to logos to merch to everything. They do it all. They're like all one-stop shop. Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's just like going through the process has put me in situations where I've met people who have just given me a little push or given me a little reassurance as to that, like, what I'm actually doing is the right thing,
Yeah.
And, so
it's encouraging, validating.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm sure you network, it opens doors, you meet other people, 100%. And it provides opportunities. That's amazing.
So I'll tell you my story about my first, like, I want to say, like, real event. Like, I've had tons of events and tons of catering and weddings and you name it before this day. But, you know, I'm like, holy shit, this is the Food Network. This is New York City Wine and Food Festival. Like, this is Fifth Avenue next to the Louis Vuitton store. Like, you know, like, this is big. Like, I'm a city boy. I love New York City. Like, there's something about the skyline that just, like, it just turns me on. I love New York, bro. Like, New York just drives me.
No place like it.
No. So I had a 3-man team that day, and
But how'd you get there? Real quick, like
So-
I like that again. The Devour. What was it?
Devour Power. There were these influencers on foodie influencers on Instagram.
So they were going to the
They
store.
had an event. They had a New York City Wine and Food Festival event, and with the guy with that show, Man versus Food, and they invited me to be one of the featured chefs there, and I
Gotcha.
was fucking blown
Like-
away by that.
and that just came from you doing the Philly cheesesteaks at the store.
Yeah, just
Nice.
like they just enjoyed my food. They're like, yo, you need to be there, and I'm so grateful for them and for that opportunity. And so this show, that day, the show started like at probably like 8 p.m. I had to be there by like 6:37 to set up, and I worked that day at Caoba. I opened lunch.
Damn.
I left early, but I opened lunch, and like I was cutting it really close. I was playing with fire, and I was trying to like do all my orders and also like prep a few things that I needed for the show for that day. I should have taken the day off, but
Yeah, I was about to say
completely
that.
failed at that. Yeah. So I'm running super late, and my team is running later than I am. So we were a 3-man team, and I was the one that was gonna get there first, and I was in my van with all the equipment and all the food and all the prepped food. And this was the second time that I met Chef Kelvin. The second time. This is the second time, mind you. This guy, I've like looked up to him and worshipped him for the shit he does and his charisma and everything for like a long time before I even thought about being on Instagram. And this is the second time I met him. He calls me and he's like, "Yo, Chef, what's up, man? I'm here. I you know, because I had invited him to the show. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do the New York City Wine and Food, so you should drop by." And he was like, "Oh, he calls me. He's like, dude, I'm here," and I'm like stuck on the Midtown Tunnel or something, like stupid traffic.
Damn.
And I'm like running like an hour late. Yeah, I'm the real Dominican. And I'm running super late, and I'm just like, dude, I'm really nervous. I'm running really late. My team is running even more behind than I am. I don't know how. I don't know how I'm just gonna even bring this shit in. Like I'm. This is Fifth Avenue. Like, this is like, it was at the Tommy Hilfiger store on Fifth Avenue.
Damn.
So, like, there's no standing zone. Like, I'm just like, I'm just like completely like, at this point, like, I'm just shitting my pants. Like, I don't know what's going on. I changed in the car that day. Like, I was literally like in traffic,
while you were in
changing my
traffic?
pants. Yeah, while I was in traffic. And he's like, "Chef, don't worry about it. Look, I'm having a drink across the street. Call me when you're 5 minutes away." I called him when I was 5 minutes away. He's like, "No worries, Chef. We're here. We're out in front waiting for you." I said, "Who?" I said, "What?" I'm confused. I pull up in front of the store. This guy's outside with like 30 people, like 30 volunteers, that like people who are like running the show, like running the actual show, people who are actually
that part of the event,
doing shit. And he like pulled them from their tasks, and they're like, "Yo, one of our chefs is here," and he's like, "Yeah,
needs our help."
Dude, he had literally, I pulled up in front of the store, and he had enough people outside to take everything I had in my van. My van was completely loaded inside to my spot. And he's like, "Chef, relax, breathe, take it easy. This is your apron. This is your package. This is where you're going to be." Like, he had like checked in for me.
Wow.
He's like, "Give me your keys. I'm going to go park your car."
That is
This
so
is the
like,
second time I met him. The first time I met him, he came to Caoba to try the pizza. The second time I met him, he's at one of my most important shows ever, like at the very, very beginning of my career.
That's insane, man.
Saying,
That's
dude,
so dope.
dude, just go relax. I'm gonna park your car. He goes, he parks my car. He he comes back and we had a power issue. We couldn't get started, and he was like fucking busting people around, like, yo, we have a power issue, like, what's going on? Like, this show's about to start, like, we're not ready to, like, I mean, he moved us around, like, he held us down.
He like made it happen.
My team finally showed up, and we had like a line over 100 people the entire night. And we got shouted out on the Food Network that day. They posted us saying like we were the main attraction at the New York City Food.
Wow.
And it was all thanks to him, because he was literally like at the foot of our table. I was so busy just making sandwiches, bro, and making the cheese sauce, and people were just surrounding us, taking pictures of the cheese pull. And I couldn't like even talk to people, like, and he was just the whole time like, yeah, this is my man Steven, whatever, boo boo, Chef Papi, what, caoba, blah blah. Like, he was just like really like he was like
championed your cause. That's insane, yo. Shout out to Chef Kelvin, yo.
No fucking reason to do that. No fucking reason to do that. And excuse me, I curse a lot.
No, I'm the same way.
That you know that said, like, dude, that was another event in my life that I will never forget, because I'm just like, this dude had no reason to do that. Like
no rhyme or reason.
He has such a busy schedule. He had no reason to be there to help me out. It was my fault I was late. You know what I'm saying? It was my fault, like, my team was late.
Yeah.
It was I see it that way. Anything that has my name on it, it goes wrong, even if it was like it wasn't me that, you know what I'm saying?
You're going to hold yourself responsible. Yeah.
I hold myself accountable for anything that has my name tied to it. So, you know, to me, I'm like, you know, this is the second time I met the dude. And it just said...
And he's going so above and beyond.
Says so much about, like, just like, you know... What are we really doing? You know what I'm saying? What are our goals, and what are we doing to like help other people? Like, you know, there's a lot of people that believe in that. Like, you know, if you just always do well, but to you know, to other people, someone will always have your
comes
back.
Back to you.
You know what I'm saying? Someone will always have your back, because, you know, essentially that's what life is for. Like, and right now is like, I live my life for my family. Like, yes, I enjoy what I do, but like everything that I do, I think about like, how is this gonna benefit my kid? You know, how is my kid gonna learn from this? How is he gonna, you know, grow up with? And I guess like I'm being a little selfish. Like, I'm trying to set up a little shortcut for them. Like, I said, like, no, you don't have to find out the hardest way ever, but this is what I went through, you know, and just like
learn from my mistakes.
Exactly. I just feel like just sharing stories and experiences like this, you know, this I love that you do this podcast, because you're sharing other people's stories with everyone that listens to the podcast. Absolutely. And that's an amazing thing, because stories are reassuring, and processes are reassuring, and experiences are reassuring, and that's all we really need. We just need a little reassurance, you know. We just need to build a little confidence to get over whatever it is that we're dealing with, whatever shit we grew up with, whatever
insecurities we have.
Fulanito did to us or said to us. Like, dude, that it's like we can't keep using this as an excuse to not, you know, get into action.
To not move forward, not follow our dreams.
Let's move, yo.
Absolutely.
Let's just move, you know.
Damn, that's such a dope story, man. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Thank you, man. And shout out to Chef Kelvin.
Absolutely, man.
I'm not riding your dick at all.
Folks, check out that episode. I'll actually link to it in the episode notes that Chef Kelvin was on. I think I spoke about it in a previous podcast, if I'm not mistaken, but just in case I didn't, it was on the Earn Your Leisure podcast, and it was a dope episode, and you guys should definitely check it out. And Chef Papi, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for doing this.
Man. This was a lot of fun.
If you want to, one last thing that which I think you touched on already, but that I want to ask you is if you have like any advice or words of encouragement, I guess, for like an upcoming chef or cook or anything like that, if you want to share it. Which honestly I feel like this entire podcast has been. You know what I mean? Like, people just knowing your story is that. But any last words?
No, I mean, it doesn't necessarily just have to be a chef. You know, I just want just everyone in general, like, just let go. That's it. It's like the only way you can truly be happy, discover, that gut feeling that you're feeling, whether it's like the right thing for you or not, is to exercise it. It's
Do
just
it.
like let
Find
go.
out.
There's something that you're tied to that's not allowing you to let go. To move forward. Let go of that shit. Like, and you know what it is. No one can help you. No one can do the work for you. You can have, like, how many books don't exist? How many podcasts don't exist? Like, there's just all the information is there. It's right in front of you. The formula is given to you, literally. But you gotta do the work.
True.
And it's like, whatever it is that's holding you back from doing the work, figure out what that is and let go of that.
Cut it off.
And be prepared. Like, the world is not perfect. Be prepared to be completely fucking ruined.
Take your losses, take your lumps.
Or at least be prepared to know that people just want to shit on you just because they have their own insecurities that they haven't like let go of,
And they're projecting it onto you.
Yes, dude, the best things that I do are because I was yelled at. I was scared into fucking making it right. I was embarrassed into making it right. I was hurt into making it right. You
True.
know, and that's all part of the process. And you don't get that. You don't get that in a book. You could get that in a story. You could hear my story all you want. It's never gonna do anything for you until you start making your own story.
Absolutely. Well said, Chef.
I said thank you, brother.
Thank
it was
you.
a pleasure.
Appreciate you.
Pleasure.
That was fucking fun. That was awesome. We gotta do this shit again.
I'm really